Yo guys, what's going on and welcome back to another FIFA video. However, this video is a little bit different. Rather than doing another episode of my Road to Glory series, I thought I would interrupt that series by making a video on who I thought could, and in some cases should be, an icon for FIFA 22. So there are 10 of them and I have ranked them least likely to most likely in my opinion. I will leave timestamps in the description down below so you can pick and choose which icons you want to listen about, if I can remember. Also, just to clarify, this is icons because I know EA are apparently adding a new promo called Foot Heroes, which are like icons but not icons, which makes sense. But I'm not talking about them because I don't really understand what it is yet. So we're focusing on just icons, and hopefully this video is going to go up before EA announce it, because last year I tried to record this very video and didn't record it in time, and by the time I'd done all my research and everything, EA had announced who the icons were. So I'm hoping this video will go up before the new icons are announced, if anything just so I don't look like an idiot, to be honest. Just before we start, if you guys are new around here, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe. I'd appreciate that very much. And without any further ado, let's jump in at number 10. Starting off at number 10, we have the man, the myth, the legend, John Charles. Now I know what you're thinking. Who? Those of you who have been around the channel for a while know that I did a FIFA 20 Road to Glory series around Wales players called Wales of a Time. And at the end of that series I did a video similar to this one, but around the Welsh previous legends, and this guy kept coming up as one of Wales's best ever players, and after doing my research I kind of have to agree, to be honest. During his playing career, John Charles made over 700 appearances at a club level, most notably for Leeds and Juventus. In those 700 games, he also scored 370 goals. He also, of course, played for the Welsh national team and received 38 caps, and in those games he scored 15 goals. Now, for a man of his quality, only making 38 appearances isn't very impressive. That's quite a small number, I thought, but apparently when he played for Juventus, he was so important for them that Juventus wouldn't let him play internationally for risk of him getting injured. John Charles was also unusual in the sense that he could play at striker or centre-back. And even more incredibly, he never received a card in his entire career. The fact that he could be a striker or a centre-back is pretty perfect for the three-tier icon system that EA has introduced. At the 1958 World Cup, John Charles was a crucial part of the Wales squad that made it to the quarter-finals, which is the furthest Wales have ever got in a World Cup competition, and since the 1958 World Cup, they haven't qualified for a World Cup since. However, when they reached the quarterfinals, they came up against a very talented Brazil squad and lost 1-0 to a goal scored by a 17-year-old kid called Pelé. John Charles scored in Wales' final group game to ensure that they got through to the quarterfinals. However, for the game against Brazil, he picked up an injury and wasn't able to play. Many people say that if he had played in that team, Wales could have probably won that game and possibly even gone on to win the World Cup. In the 1956-57 season, he was the top goal scorer in the English First Division. He then transferred to Juventus, as I said, for a world record fee, and that following season he got the top goal scorer in the Serie A. With Juventus he won the Serie A 3 times and the Coppa Italia twice in the space of 4 seasons. However, perhaps his best achievement came in 1959 when he came third for the Ballon d'Or, ahead of the likes of Yashin, Puskas and Pelé, and only narrowly lost out to Alfredo Di Stefano, ironically another player on this list. Despite John Charles playing nearly 60 years ago now, his impact in football can still be seen to this day. One of the stands in the Ellen Road Leeds Stadium is named after him, and recently at Juventus they did a fan vote to see who the best ever foreign player was to play for that club, and John Charles won it ahead of Zinedine Zidane. Many people thought John Charles was the best player in the world during his time, and me personally being Welsh, I'd love to see another Welsh icon in there, and if it's going to be anyone, I think it has to be John Charles. Coming in at number 9, we have the Saudi Arabian striker Majed Abdullah, and once again, who on earth is that? Well, unless you played Pacey Bits FIFA 19, you probably have no idea who this guy is. Majed Abdullah played for Al Nassr in the Saudi Arabian League for 22 years, and he scored 259 goals in 266 games, which on average meant there was only 7 games he played where he didn't score in. He's also received 121 caps for Saudi Arabia and scored 79 goals in those games, and is still the nation's leading goal scorer to this day. With Saudi Arabian side Al Nassr, he won the Saudi Premier League 4 times and was the top scorer in the league 6 times. He is still currently Al Nassr's top scorer of all time, no surprises there, but he is also currently the all-time top scorer of the Saudi League, scoring 189 goals in total. He's also won many trophies, none of which I've heard of before, but let's read through them anyway. He won the King Cup 4 times, the Golf Club Champions Cup twice, and the Asian Cup Winners' Cup once, all with Al Nassr. He's also led Saudi Arabia to win the AFC Asian Cup twice. He's been the top goal scorer 10 times in 5 different competitions, 6 of them in the league and 4 of them in the cup. He was runner-up in the Asian Player of the Year in 1989, and in the 1994 World Cup, Abdullah captained his side to the round of 16, which is the furthest Saudi Arabia has ever gone in the competition. To reach the round of 16, they finished runners-up in a group that contained a Netherlands team with Koeman, De Boer, Rijkaard, Overmars and Bergkamp, which is, a pretty decent team. Now, when I was making this video, I thought it's a bit of a long shot for an icon, to be honest. There are a couple of nations who only have one icon representing them, Stoichkov for Bulgaria and Nekata for Japan, for example, and I thought if Saudi Arabia was going to get one, Majed Abdullah would probably be the one. However, recently it's actually looked more likely because EA have announced that one of the FUT heroes is a Saudi Arabian player from the Saudi League. So who knows, maybe we will see Majed Abdullah in FIFA 22. Coming in at number 8 is the player that many people believe to be the best defender of all time, Franz Beckenbauer. At club level he made over 750 appearances, most notably for Bayern Munich, but he also had stints at Hamburg and New York Cosmos, a team I hadn't heard of before I looked it up, but apparently they had Beckenbauer alongside Carlos Alberto, Johan Cruyff and Pele in the same team. How did I not know about this? In those 750 games he also scored 98 goals, which is pretty impressive considering he played centre-back. He also received 103 caps for Germany, making him Germany's 9th most capped player in history, and scored 11 goals. Throughout his career he won the Bundesliga title 5 times, 4 of them with Bayern Munich and 1 of them with Hamburg. He also won the DFB Pokal. I've probably butchered that, but he won that 4 times. He also won 3 league titles with New York Cosmos. However, after finding out who was in the team, I'm not surprised. And he helped Bayern Munich win 3 Champions League titles in a row. Internationally, he's represented Germany at 3 different World Cups and 2 different Euros championships, and in the 1966 World Cup he helped West Germany to the final and also tied 3rd for the Golden Boot, all at the age of 21. Sadly for him, in the 1966 World Cup final he didn't manage to win. I can't actually remember who won the 1966 World Cup. 2 World Cups later, however, he managed to captain West Germany to a World Cup victory in 1974. He was named German Footballer of the Year 4 times, and he was also named as part of the best 11 for all 3 World Cups he was in. He was named in the Bundesliga Team of the Seasons 12 seasons in a row, and he's also a 2 times winner of the Ballon d'Or. Again, pretty crazy for a centre-back. As well as being a very successful player, Beckenbauer also went on to be a very successful manager, again winning a World Cup, 2 league titles and a Europa League. Now, the only reason Beckenbauer is so far down this list is because, those of you who are old enough to remember, he was a legend from FIFA 15 to 17. However, he didn't become an icon when EA switched it from legends to icons. However, with the likes of Davor Suker being added to the icons this year after only being a legend before, it is very much possible that we could see Beckenbauer in FIFA 22. Now, number 7 for me is pretty much almost guaranteed, to be honest. Looking back on it now, I don't know why I put him number 7. It is the absolute tank of a midfielder, Yaya Toure. Yaya played for many different clubs over an 18-year career, most notably of course for Barcelona and Man City. He made 614 career appearances and scored 102 goals. He's also made over 100 appearances for his country, which makes him the 4th most capped player in the history of the Ivory Coast. He's also scored 19 goals for the Ivory Coast, which makes him the country's 7th highest top scorer, which is pretty incredible considering he was a centre mid. He played as either a centre mid or a CDM, but it didn't really matter where he played. Wherever he played, he was a beast. With Barcelona, he won the La Liga, the Copa del Rey, the Spanish Super Cup, the Champions League, the UEFA Super Cup and the Club World Cup in the same year. He then transferred to Man City and helped them win 3 Premier League titles. As well as this, they won an FA Cup, 2 Carabao Cups and an FA Community Shield. However, in the Premier League, Yaya Toure is best known for having that Premier League season. In the 2013-14 Man City title winning season, Yaya Toure's stats were stupid. He made 30 league appearances and scored 20 goals and 9 assists, meaning he contributed to 29 goals in the 30 games he played. He's a centre mid. He also scored 10 of his 13 attempted free kicks and had a 90% passing accuracy out of the 2,500 passes he attempted throughout the entire season. There's no surprise in the fact that he was given City's Player of the Season that year. In 2015, he captained the Ivory Coast to winning the African Cup of Nations, and he's also the 4-time winner of African Football of the Year. For me, Yaya Toure is an absolute tank. One of the Ivory Coast's 2 best players ever, alongside Didier Drogba. And as I said at the beginning, it would not surprise me at all to see this man as an icon in FIFA 22. In at number 6 we have an English player. However, I believe he is the most unpopular English player we've ever had. It is Chelsea's legendary centre-back, John Terry. Throughout his career, he made 759 appearances at club level. 717 of them were at Chelsea in a 22-year spell he had at the club. In those 759 games, he scored 68 goals, 67 of those were in a Chelsea shirt. He also made 78 appearances for England and scored 6 goals, and he was part of the golden generation of English football, which somehow won nothing at any international tournament ever. To this day, I don't understand how. I mean, look at this team that we had. How did they win nothing? Anyway, with Chelsea, he captained them to winning 5 Premier Leagues, 5 FA Cups, 3 League Cups, 2 Community Shields, a Champions League and a Europa League title. During Chelsea's Premier League winning 2004-05 season, Terry was part of a defence that broke the record for the most clean sheets in a single season, and he only conceded 15 goals for the entire season. He was part of the PFA Team of the Year 4 times, he was part of the FIFA Pro World 11 5 years in a row, he was part of the UEFA Team of the Year 4 times, and was also named as part of the PFA Team of the Century in 2007. Now, there's no doubt that John Terry was one of England's best ever defenders, and the stats and achievements speak for themselves. However, the reason he's so far down the list is because I don't think he will be an icon, simply due to how controversial his career was. I mean, he got into so many scandals. I'm not going to get into them now, but, you know, safe to say, he's not everyone's cup of tea. Coming in at number 5, we have a Brazilian icon. I know, there are already 9 Brazilian icons in the game, but I think this man probably deserves to be in there as well. It is the legendary right back, Cafu. Throughout his career, he made 525 club appearances, playing the majority of his career in either Italy or Brazil, but playing for a few different clubs such as Roma, AC Milan, and Sao Paulo. However, interestingly, in those 500 plus games, he only scored 18 goals, which is not as much as I thought it would be. He also made 142 appearances for Brazil, scoring 5 goals, and it means that he's the most capped Brazilian of all time. He represented Brazil in 4 World Cups between 1994 to 2006, and he's the only player in history to appear in 3 consecutive World Cup finals, and he won 2 of them. Throughout his career at club level, he won 2 Serie A titles, 1 with AC Milan and 1 with Roma, and with AC Milan he also won a Supercoppa Italia, 1 Champions League, 2 UEFA Super Cups, and 1 FIFA Club World Cup trophy. With Brazil, as I said, he won 2 World Cups, one of which he was the captain for in 2002, 2 Copa Americas, and 1 FIFA Confederations Cup. Because of all these achievements, he was part of the South American Team of the Year 4 times, part of the UEFA Team of the Year twice, and part of the FIFA Pro World 11 once. He was also part of the World Soccer Greatest 11 of all time, and was recently inducted into the Ballon d'Or Dream Team in 2020. Now, I don't know what that means, but it sounds pretty impressive. It's safe to say we have our fair share of Brazilian icons in this game already. However, after doing my research, I would not be at all surprised if we saw Cafu introduced in FIFA 22. Coming in at number 4, we have the Italian one-club legend, Francesco Totti. As I said, he's probably best known for being a one-club legend, playing for Roma between 1992 to 2017. In that 25-year period, he made 786 appearances and scored 307 goals, playing as either an attacking midfielder or a centre forward. As well as this, he also received 58 caps for Italy, but only scored 9 goals, which I am surprised about. Unsurprisingly, having played there for 25 years, Totti is the top goal scorer and has the most appearances in Roma's history. However, with 250 league goals, Totti is the second highest top scorer in the history of the Serie A. He also holds the record for the most Serie A goals for a single club and holds the record for being the youngest ever captain in the Serie A. Totti is considered by many to be one of the greatest Italian players of all time and Roma's greatest ever player. During his time at Roma, he won a Serie A title, 2 Coppa Italias and 2 Supercoppa Italianas. Again, I don't know what those are, but well done to him. He was also part of the Italian squad that won the World Cup in 2006. He is the 5 times winner of Serie A Footballer of the Year, and in 2018 he was inducted into the Italian Football Hall of Fame. Now, Totti was at the peak of his career whilst I was growing up, and even though I didn't really watch the Serie A at all, I still knew who this guy was. He was an absolute Roma legend, tearing it up in both the League and the Champions League. And again, although there are already a countless number of Italian icons in the game, I think it's fair to say that Totti also deserves to be one. Coming in at number 3, we have, in my opinion, one of, if not the greatest goalkeeper of all time, Iker Casillas. In his career, he made 885 club appearances for both Real Madrid and later Porto. He also made 167 appearances for the Spanish national team, which makes him the second most capped Spanish player ever, and makes him the joint 10th most capped player of any nation ever. Despite his career lasting well over 20 years, his retirement decision was almost made for him, as in 2019 he was unable to return to full match fitness after suffering a heart attack during training with Porto. Throughout his career, he became the captain for both Real Madrid and Spain for many years. At the age of 19, Casillas became the youngest goalkeeper to play in a Champions League final, and then approximately 90 minutes later, he became the youngest player to win a Champions League final. And to this day, he currently holds the record for the most clean sheets in the history of the Champions League. Okay, now to read off all of his achievements. With Real Madrid, he won 5 La Liga titles, 2 Copa del Reys, 4 Supercopa de España, 3 Champions Leagues, 2 UEFA Super Cups and 1 FIFA Club World Cup. He also won the league with Porto, and he captained Spain to their first ever World Cup win and also to 2 Euros titles. He was named the world's best goalkeeper 5 times. He was part of the FIFA Pro World 11 5 times, which is the most for a goalkeeper. He was also part of the UEFA Team of the Year 6 times, and he also won the Golden Glove at the World Cup after keeping 5 clean sheets. He also holds 27 different records in multiple competitions, including the most appearances and the most clean sheets in Champions League history, the most consecutive seasons in the Champions League, and the most international clean sheets. Again, Casillas was at his peak during my childhood, and it was clear to see that he was definitely the best goalkeeper in the world at that time. He won so much with Real Madrid and Spain and kept so many clean sheets, you could argue he's the best goalkeeper ever, and I believe that he definitely deserves a place as an icon in FIFA 22. Coming in at number 2, we have another English player, which is of course not biased at all from me, but it is the recently retired Wayne Rooney. Rooney made 763 appearances at club level for many different clubs and played as a striker and then later an attacking midfielder. In those 763 games, he scored 313 goals. Most notably, he played for Man United, but he also played for Everton, DC United in the MLS, and later on Derby, where he is now the manager. In his 559 appearances for Man U, he won 16 trophies and scored 253 goals, which makes him the top scorer in the club's history. He also had a very successful international career with England. He received 120 caps in total and scored 53 goals, which means he is not only the top goal scorer in England's history, but also has the second highest number of caps. He's yet another member of the golden generation of English talent that won absolutely nothing, and I still do not understand how that happened. Rooney made his international debut at the young age of 17 and managed to score on his debut, which makes him England's youngest ever goalscorer to this day. Rooney also scored 208 goals in the Premier League, which makes him the second highest goalscorer in the history of the Premier League. With Man United, he won 5 Premier League titles, 1 FA Cup, 3 EFL Cups, 4 Community Shields, a Champions League, a Europa League and a Club World Cup. He also received over 30 individual awards, including multiple appearances in the FIFA Pro World 11. As well as this, he holds 18 different records, including the most Champions League goals by an English player, the most World Cup goals scored by an English player, and the most goals scored in a Manchester derby, including one of the best goals I have ever witnessed with my own eyes. Now, the only reason I can think of to stop Rooney becoming an icon in FIFA 22 is because he only retired earlier this year. I'm assuming that EA already know who their icons are and probably started the process of adding them into the game months ago. If this is the case, Rooney's probably unlikely to be one because he was still actively playing during that time. However, in FIFA 23 and onwards, I think Rooney definitely deserves to be an icon, and he probably will be, to be honest. I mean, he was on the cover of the game for about 8 years in a row. But now, the one we've all been waiting for, the player I think is most likely to be an icon in FIFA 22. Number 1, Alfredo Di Stefano. Now, for many of you that was probably an anticlimax because you probably have no idea who he is, and a big part of that is because he played in the 1940s to the 1960s. However, many people put him forward in the argument of the best player ever. Di Stefano played his club football in 3 different countries, starting in Argentina before moving to Colombia and then Spain. He made 669 career appearances and scored 487 goals in total, and he's most notable for playing for Real Madrid when he scored 308 goals in 396 games, which gave him a 0.78 goals to game ratio, which is ridiculous. This also made him Real Madrid's 3rd highest top scorer behind Raul and Cristiano Ronaldo. And this is made even more impressive by the fact that Raul, the 2nd highest top scorer, only scored 15 more goals in 345 more games. Di Stefano is also very interesting in the sense that he's represented 3 different national teams throughout his career. As he was born in Argentina, he first represented them, making 6 appearances and scoring 6 goals. 2 years later, in 1949, he then switched allegiances to Colombia, representing them 4 times, however not scoring any goals. It was probably the lack of goals that made his decision to switch to Spain 8 years later. He received 31 caps for them and scored 23 goals, making him the joint 8th top scorer and has by far the best goals to game ratio in the country's history. Since he played mostly for Spain, I think EA would probably make him a Spanish icon, although because of the 3-tier system you could have 1 Argentinian, 1 Colombian, 1 Spanish, which would be very interesting. As stated earlier, he is considered to be one of the greatest players of all time and received many records and achievements throughout his career. During the first 12 years of his career in Argentina and Colombia, he won 6 league titles. However, most of his achievements came with Real Madrid. With Real Madrid, he won 8 La Liga titles, 1 Copa del Rey, 5 Champions Leagues, 1 Intercontinental Cup and 2 Latin Cups. For Real Madrid, as if having Alfredo Di Stefano wasn't enough, his striking partner was the newly added icon to FIFA 21, Ferenc Puskas. I mean, as strike partnerships go, that's a pretty flippin' good one. Di Stefano also won 2 Ballon d'Ors in 1957 and 1959, narrowly beating John Charles, and he also won a Super Ballon d'Or. I don't even know what that is, and if I still haven't convinced you, I think this tops it off the most. A couple of years ago, there was a vote organised by a French football magazine which consulted the former Ballon d'Or winners to elect the football player of the century. Di Stefano came 4th behind Pelé, Maradona and Cruyff, which to be fair is understandable. There's no doubt in my mind that Di Stefano deserved to be any lower than number 1 in my opinion. I think if there's a dead set icon in FIFA 22, he will be it. In a month or so I may look very stupid, but there you go. I can say with 80% confidence that Di Stefano will be an icon in FIFA 22. But there we go, that is my top 10 icon predictions for FIFA 22. If you have any others, feel free to leave them down below in the comments for me to read. As said in the intro, if you are new around here, please feel free to subscribe, leave a like on the video if you did enjoy, and I will see you all in my next video. See ya!